This is Joseph Awadallah from LoveToLearnTennis.com, and back to our series of cracking the code for a winning double strategy. We're starting the second part, which basically how to break your opponent's winning pattern. So every doubles player and every player in doubles, they have a good pattern, and if they can keep winning those points, they're going to repeat it. They're going to do everything they can to try to make it happen again and make you, lose the points, and they keep winning points. So the first pattern that we can talk about is effective cross court. Let's say your opponent has great ground strokes and they hit a really good cross court that you almost feel you can't win any rally against them. So the more you hit back in them cross court, they hit it back harder and more to the angle, and you end up like feeling, oh my God, how I can do that. So let's give a scenario by the forehand, either yourself or your partner exchanging rallies across court. The way to break your opponent's pattern for effective cross court, you have two options. The first one, if you're the baseliner or your partner the baseliner rally against your opponent, you're gonna try either to lob, hit up, their partner at the poacher. So you try to go more lob, so they make your, that opponent run across and hit the next shot. Or the other one, you obviously, is step in and hit it down the line for, at the partner, especially if their partner is weaker at the net compared to their strong volley. So you can break it a little bit by not just keep exchanging all day cross court. And I always say, if you're playing doubles, the maximum you can hit cross court is between 2 to 3 shots, and then you try to nail that alley, or to the volleyer if they're not ready, so you can surprise them more. Or like I said, if they're you can lob sometimes every now and then, but make sure it's effective lob and the player doesn't come back really quick and put an overhead. So that's the first pattern that you can break for your opponent had a very solid cross court. Obviously, like I said, this is forehand or backhand. The second one, let's say they're really good also at the baseline running across, and you can't go down the line because every time you go down the line, the volleyer or poacher is there and they can put it away. This is pretty tough. So now you have to take more chances. You're the one who try to come in. So after a ground stroke, you actually try to come in and volley. And this is where you can take more chances to close on them. So you get them a little bit out of their comfort zone rather than set it up and take their time. So you kind of like rush them. Also, your partner needs to be very active at the net. So let's say that the opponent has a very effective cross court and they go the forehand, for example, and you're here, if you're just standing and not moving much, you're giving them a chance to be comfortable to hit cross court. But when you see them, you try to slide and you try to poach, even if you're not effective or you meet some errors, they know you're putting more pressure on them to hit more of the angle, or every now and then when you pick up a ball right in the middle, you can poach. So you want to be moving back and forth at the net like this, or you come back, so they see you always moving, so they feel more pressure, and they get almost thinking about it. It's like, oh man, I even have to hit a better shot. So this is one of the things to break your opponent's consistent cross court pattern. Again, you can go down the line, hit down the line or lob, or you can close in. At the net after a ground stroke, you're closing fast and try to come to the net. Or also get your partner to be more effective at the net, moving, try to poach and close in more at the middle, so you put more pressure on them to hit more effective shots. So this is the 3 techniques you can break your opponent's pattern for effective cross court. Thank you. How to also, in part 2, to break your opponent's pattern. So the next pattern, or your opponent does, is serve and volley. Very effective serve. They can serve really good. And then as soon as they serve, they follow to the net. Usually the top players are really good on that, like usually the solid 3-5 to 4-0 and above, or even strong 4-5. They're very effective in serve and volley. And to be honest, I probably a lot of people agree, this is the hardest pattern to break. But there's technique and strategies for that as well. And this is where you also need to take some chances. First of all, you want to take on a serve and volley, you want to step in and take the ball earlier from here and step in and take it early. If you back up, serve and volley loves to kick you or moving you out or back on the court, so they keep you on the back foot, so they got more time to come in and close. But when you take this time away from them and stepping in and take it early, then yourself you close. So kind of like instead of standing, let's say I'm in on the outside, standing back there, and they're serve and volley from here. If the ball doesn't bounce that high, and you can step in and take it early, take a chance, and then close in. So you actually try to exchange volleys with them to close. So you put more pressure on them to close in faster, because now they're not comfortable. You have even to rush them. So you rush them to come in. The next one, it can be also change of technique or tactics on a serve and volley. You actually try to lob your opponent, or even lob cross court. So you can lob down the line, for example, on a serve and volley coming in, so they can switch and take the ball still off the air if they can. Or, you can lob them so you can push them back and they try to run. And it can be a winner if the serve and volley closing too fast and they're not ready. And if you lob, that could be a winner. Same thing, you can go cross court sharp angle. So you step in and take a little bit more angle and try to take some risk, hit those alleys from the cross court. So from here, I'm going to try to go more cross court, but more for the angle, because it's pretty tough for your opponent. Try to get those balls on a very tough angle. So let's say I'm a serve and volley, right? I usually come in towards the middle. So if it comes more in the alleys, that's pretty hard to get. That's, it requires really athletic abilities to go more side and stay low to get it. But once you hit that sharp cross court, you're going to start intimidate them. You're going to say, hey, I handle your serve, I form more angle, or you come in early and you close. So now they're starting to think about it. And it's like, I'm not comfortable anymore, serve and volley all the time. Maybe they'll mix it up. Maybe they find a way, but now you got to their head. That's one of the things that very effective. You have to get to their head and not make them comfortable in doing something that they're usually win with it, but once they realize they're losing those strength or power shots that you normally rely to win the point, now they have to do something different to change a pattern. So now you break this pattern, they have to come up with a different pattern to win. Thank you. Have a great day.